Where and when were you born?
I was born in Orange County in 1977.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Orange County, California.
Describe the place that where you grew up. What was it like?
Orange County is very white, very suburban. Now, that's not the case. Now, there are lots of Asian Americans there, especially in the city of Irvine where I grew up. But when we were first there, it was very white, very sterile, very clean, lots of orange groves.
While conducting your research, what was the most shocking thing you learned about Operation Baby Lips? Or something that really stood out to you?
I think the most surprising thing to me was that they actually all had homes. They all had parents attached to them. So it wasn't like these orphans who they were just scooping out of people's arms. Like these were all kids who were promised to adoptive parents.
What are some of the things you want your readers to take away after reading your book?
I think if they actually can sympathize with my characters and understand their perspectives, I would be really happy.
You're currently working on a second book. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's a novel about a family, Vietnamese family that immigrates to France and America.
What made you want to write about this specific context? Or why do you think it's important to write about it?
It's important to me. I like these characters, I love these characters, and that's the story I needed to tell right now. Similar to We Should Never Meet, like I get to explore different family members in the novel, so I write from different points of view, and I really enjoy that.
Where do you usually get your inspiration for writing?
I think about the characters most of all, like characters and the stories that they want to tell. Each family member has issues that they're dealing with, and even when they interact with each other, they're always aware of those issues. It's a very tumultuous journey that they've all taken together, from Vietnam to the refugee camps to France and America, the colonization of the Western world. So I like to write about characters who personally are really profoundly affected by historical events that we never really think about when we read in newspapers or when we read about the Vietnam War, about these big global events that it affects hundreds of thousands of people personally. When you hear about a refugee camp of 400,000 people in a refugee camp, it's just a number to most of us. But each person has a light. Each person has lost so much and has experienced so much joy and so much pain. And I think those specific stories are what really interest me, like the really deeply personal stories. You get to hear from voices that don't often get heard. Your parents talk to, it's from hearing your relatives talk to, and then in fiction writing, you're sitting there and you develop your character based on all these stories that you heard.
So, do you have any ideas that you want to tell future people who want to write who are Asian American?
I think everyone has a story that they want to tell. I think if you feel very passionate about it, you will write the story. I think you don't think about your audience. You don't think about the end product. You think about the characters whose voices actually speak to you. And if those characters have something important to say, and you have enough desire to want them to have a platform to express these ideas, then you will make the time to write those stories.
Do you have any words of wisdom that you would like to share with any of the younger Vietnamese generations?
Words of wisdom. I think we're all trying to survive and trying to get through things. What's lovely is making sure that we help each other. I think that's really important. Everyone has their own personal ambitions. I think the interesting thing, I think, in trying to straddle two different cultures, the Vietnamese culture and the American culture, so much about the Vietnamese culture is helping your family, being selfless, putting aside your own personal desires for the betterment of the family. Whereas they would say the American ideal is very selfish, very personal. You must be your own person, you must be your own individual, and I think there's actually a lot of room in between for you to actually still acknowledge and to support and to love your family and also pursue your own interests.